Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. I'm David, and today we've got another group trying to march on to the uh, inevitable round of 32. But, first we got to get through the starting round one. Converter versus Delegator. Now, this is kind of mid school versus way new school. But, uh, we'll see what happens. I been kind of intrigued by these. So, to get it started, Delegator. Well, just looking at art, I really like that art. That's just cool art. Got a lot of stuff going on, but you can tell kind of in boss mode, going, okay, you're gonna do that thing. Send a memo there. Have them do that thing. I like it. It's very, very evocative of what a delegator is. Converter also seems to be evocative. I get that this is some kind of a machine that's drawing energy or something into it. You've got a process going on. I just don't see the conversion happening. So, from that standpoint, I gotta give the artwork point to the delegator. But Converter probably could beat out half or more of the aliens on the artwork. Let's go power text here. So, Converter's power. You have the power to exchange. Whenever you would lose ships to the warp, you can use this power to discard up to an equal number of ships from your hand. Each card discarded saves a ship. Whenever you would retrieve one or more ships from the warp, you may use this power to instead draw cards. Draw a card for each ship you would get. So Converter's, converting cards and ships back and forth. I like that aspect. It's interesting. Delegator. As a main player or ally, after alliances are formed, you can use this power to choose an offensive ally to become the offense and or a defensive ally to become the defense. Displaced main players become allies on the same side they are on. If the original offense was displaced and the new offense wins or makes a deal, the encounter is treated as successful for the original offense. Play returns and keeps going. That is so different, so unique. I gotta give the points to Delegator. And this right now, I mean, I know it's 3-0 right now, but Converter's still a good power. I like Converter, and it's just getting whomped on here. Now, timing window, that's where Converter gets a point back. Converter works all the time. Delegator is just main player or ally only, and it's single phase. So Converter's getting a point back. Let's go flavor text. Let's see what can happen. Delegator. Long accustomed to sharing power in their small city-states, the Delegators have learned keen sensitivity to group dynamics. From a subtle twitch to emphatic gaze, they can recognize leaders among their allies, while the slightest quiver oft betrays the weak among their enemies. Very poetic, very thoughtful. Let's see what Converter has to offer for their history or flavor text here. The versatility of the converters makes them highly prized as manufacturers and business partners. They can take virtually any piece of technology and change it into something completely different. Some theorize that they eat the original materials, creating some suspicion about how the new material appears. Not sure I wanted to think about that, but I do like the flavor text on Converter more. It made me feel more tightly connected to the power. So I'm giving that point to Converter. Well, I guess we got to go flares. Converter Wild. Let's see what we got. As an ally, if you would lose one or more ships to the warp due to losing an encounter, you may force every player on the winning side to discard one card at random from their hand. Okay, cool. Delegator Wild. As the defense, only as defense, choose a non-main player that has a colony on the targeted planet. Choose a non-main player that has a colony. Okay. The chosen player becomes the defense and you become a bystander. So you get a bit of the delegator power, but only as the defense. Just not with allies. Huh. Okay. I see it. I huh. I kind of like ducking out of the encounter. But then again, defensive encounters are so frequently the chance to make a deal, the chance to get rid of a bad card. I'm giving it to Converter. Converter has made the comeback. And let's go to the Super. The Super Delegator is when using your power, you may delegate a player not involved in the encounter to be a main player. So you can bring in a ringer, as it were, which is fun. The Converter Super, in any phase you may discard any number of cards from your hand, then you may retrieve ships from the warp or draw cards from the deck in any combination you choose equal to the number of discarded cards. Boy, I like getting rid of bad cards. And you can draw new cards, and then you can do it again next encounter. Oh, 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 I, oh, I'm gonna do it. The point's going to Converter. We got to come back, and Converter takes it. Converter's gonna take it 4-3. I did not see that. Oh, I need a moment to gather myself here. Okay, and that brings us to Butler versus Converter. So we're gonna do the art comparison. Here's Converter, here's Butler. I like Butler, but I'm not entirely sure if this guy's meant to be a butler or a member of the Galactic Council or just Mr. Fancy Pants. I like to wear a white shirt and sash buttons, or I don't know. I get that that's a Converter. That's a machine of something that's putting something in, taking something out. I'm giving the point to Converter. And I know you're going, David, come on. You're just high on Converter. I don't care. All right, Converter power, we know what that does. Butler, you have the power to serve. You flip the Destiny card, you launch ships, you position the hyperspace gate, perform all the other manually demeaning chores for the offense after they signal the start of their encounter. Unless the offense gives you a tip of one card at random from their hand, you may use this power to perform your choice of either of the following. Aim the hyperspace gate at any planet in the defensive system, or launch the offensive ships from anywhere of their colonies, or any of their colonies, but only as many ships as they specify. If the offense does tip you, they must obey your wishes. And here's the thing. I like Butler. But Butler so frequently becomes this power that people forget about until it's hot gotcha. And it's like it just feels mean. Now, it's very powerful. It's very good. And what it creates is players have to be very careful of how many ships they leave certain places, or they just have to be okay not letting random cards go. That being said, I still want Converter. I'm going to take that. Butler makes mean games. And there are times I want my games of Cosmic to be mean, but it's not the way Butler makes for mean games. All right, let's go to history. Butler says, to serve is to live. The motto of the House of Butt guides its family as they build for their true inner hope, to turn the cosmic tables and rule forever. The fact that you can get the House of Butt into a game just makes me laugh, and maybe I'm an inner teenager or just spent too much time around teenagers. It makes me smile, though. Converter. Well, the versatility of the Converters makes them highly prized as manufacturers and business partners. They take their technology. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to the House of Butt. Timing window. Converter works all the time. Butler works in a single time, and Converter's taking it based on that. Sorry, it goes 4-1. We gave Butler their moment, but yeah, converter, moving on, 4-1. All right. Now we get Changeling versus Animal. Okay, so Changeling, at least from an art standpoint, very creepy. You see this thing starting to morph into, I think it's Reserve. But yeah, very weird. Animal definitely looks like a party animal. And with that, I'm going to give the artwork point to Animal. Now let's do the timing window. Animal has 2 timing windows. It's mandatory. Got a variability thing. Changeling's got 1, main player only, mandatory. Timing window goes to Animal just by a hair. So right away, we're looking at a slight lead for Animal. Animal got off to a hot start, but let's get into the power text, see what we can do here. Changeling, you have the power to change form as main player after the defense has been determined before allies. You can use your power to do one of 2 things. You either draw a card from the deck and add it to your hand, or you swap alien powers with your opponent. And you get everything that your opponent had, and that change is permanent. Now, they are then the Changeling, and yeah, that creates chaos, and that creates chaos in the fun way, I would say. Some people may not consider it fun, but I do. I think it's a bit of fun to just kind of change things up, and, well, yeah, pun intended there. So I like the power. Animal, you have the power to party. When you're not a main player, each time a main player fails to invite you to ally, you force the player to lose a ship. And then as a main player or an ally, if your side wins, you throw a party, and each player on the winning side draws a card. While Animal is good, Changeling is better. And I wouldn't even call Animal's not great. Animal's okay, it's interesting, right? There's a little slap on the wrist if you didn't invite me. But then if you do, hey, we get something fun. All right, let's go to the flavor text. Animal, a nomadic, carefree race. The animals make it a point to never miss a rockin' party anywhere in the cosmos, even if they have to throw it themselves while the planet owners are away. More than one race of would-be cosmic conquerors have returned from battle only to find their home world's ecology wrecked by a few hungover animals, dressed in stained togas, clambering into their ships with a bleary, "Hey man, that's what you get for bogarting the planet." Yeah, again, very evocative, very, very fun. Paints a great picture. The Changelings' history. The childlike changelings love, play, and gleefully anticipate new experiences. Recently, they have developed the unsettling ability to shed their psyches in exchange for those of others. Their standard greeting of, "I just don't seem to be myself today," provokes panic in many a passing acquaintance as the changelings leapfrog about the cosmos. Yeah, Animal, just more fun. I mean, both pretty good flavor text, but Animals, like I said, more fun. Let's go to the wilds. Changeling Wild. At any time, you may draw a card at random from the hand of the player to your left. Afterwards, give this card to that player. This flare may only be used once per encounter, because then it just keeps going around. Fun little flare. Doesn't do a ton, but it's a fun little flare. And then the Animal Wild. At the start of any regroup phase, you may throw such a wild party that it causes a cosmic quake, which is everybody discards their entire hand, draws 8 cards, and we start over. And then you give the flare to the animal. I like the idea of being able to do cosmic quake. There are times you're just not in a good position. You don't have a good hand. Other players have really good hands. They'll probably flare zap you or, well, card zap you. But it's still a good flare to play. And I like that. So with that, Animal's going to take it. And I know you're going, wait, David, Animal picked up all these little points, but not the actual power text. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. So 4-2, animal. Moving on. Over changeling. Hey, it's life. All right, and that brings us to magician versus tripler. That's going to be a good one. Well, there's nothing that necessarily says, hey, this is tripler or magician about either of these pieces of art. I do like both pieces of artwork. See, tripler here, kind of this weird lobster or crab. Magician, this clearly machine, but with a bunch of arms. I'm a sucker for magician's artwork. I think it's a better piece of artwork. It's nothing against tripler. Just magician is more of my sci-fi feel to it. But while we're at it, magician's timing window works in planning. It's mandatory. It's main player only. And tripler is mandatory, main player only. It works in reveal. It's a wash. So they're both going to get the point. They have identical timing windows. Let's go to the power text. So we need to go over here, and we'll go to magician first. Magician, you have the power of prestidigitation, and that's just a fun word. As a main player, use this power before encounter cards are selected to force your opponent to play 2 encounter cards face down. Choose one of the 2 cards at random, add it to your hand, then play an encounter card from your hand normally. Even the card you just took, your opponent must play the card you didn't. You didn't choose as their encounter card. So, that is magician. Tripler is you have the power of thrice as a main player. After you reveal an attack card, use this power to adjust its value. If it's 10 or less, you triple it. If it's more than 10, you divide it by 3. Yeah. The only time I ever truly like tripler is in a hidden power game, so I can play my high cards first and then use tripler on my low. Magician, getting you more cards into your hand. Opponent has to think about how to come back and or how to play their cards strategically. So, yeah. Well, 4 points is not the auto win when we've got that 1 point each. We've got 3 points left on the board. Let's go to flavor. Tripler. Millennia of obsessive racing and betting has given the triplers a knack for making something out of nothing. The unfortunate downside of such flim-flammery is that they have become equally prone to making nothing out of something. The triplers now wish to redefine the universe as an opportunity for their final race, forcing all other beings to bet everything they have on one final mad dash across the cosmos. And I'd add, if they don't like it, how about double or nothing? I like it. I like Tripler's history. I think that's fun. It actually tells me a whole lot more about Tripler than I knew before. Magician, lacking any natural weapons with which to defend themselves, the magicians had to use their keen intellect. To survive, confusing and confounding their enemies became second nature to the wily magicians. Indeed, many a would-be cosmic conqueror has found occasion to curse the day that the magicians swindled a visiting alien out of his spaceship and soared out into the cosmos. While that's cool, Tripler's flavor text is just more fun. Plus, I feel like going longer here. And let's talk wild. Magician's wild. When you're the main player, before selecting cards, you may force your opponent to play 3 encounter cards face down. Play 3-card Monty with them. Shuffle these cards around on the table. Your opponent chooses one of the face down cards at random, which he then plays. Returning the other 2 to their hand. If your opponent has fewer than 3 encounter cards, they discard their hand and draws a new one, and presumably keeps going until they draw a hand with 3 cards. And who doesn't love a little 3-card Monty? Tripler's wild is the main player. After your opponent reveals an attack card of 15 or higher, you may divide that attack card's value by 3, rounding up before any other effects are applied. And hey, what a way to take the attack 30, which is almost always a win, and say, nope, you played an attack 10. Yeah. Both wilds basically say, you know that one good card you were counting on to win the encounter? It's not happening. Triplers is a certainty. Magician still gives them a Monty Hall probability of it actually happening. But I'm going to take the sure thing. I'm going to take the tripler wild, which puts us at sudden death, tripler with a chance to tie. And let's see what happens. The tripler super, when you use your power, you may triple the value of any attack cards that are 13 or less instead of 10 or less. Does it make a big difference? No, but it does, because attack 10s are still in the game. 10, 12, I think there's an 11. So that helps a bit. Magician's super, when using your power, turn one of your opponent's two cards face up before choosing. Choose either the face up or face down card and take it. Your opponent plays the card you did not choose as normal. Magician's taking that. Being able to combine Oracle with your power, that's just better. So by 5-3, Magician takes this over Tripler. Going in, I was ready to say Magician wins in a landslide, but that was not the case. Magician was here. So, now we're going to get Animal versus Magician for the opportunity to play Converter and win this little section. All right, so Animal, still a very representative party animal. Magician, still a really cool piece. I hate that I have to choose. These are honestly some of my favorite pieces of art. But Magician makes me just that little bit happier. So Magician getting the point. But then we get the timing window. Magician, planning, mandatory, main player only. Animal, mandatory, varies, can work as an ally, main player, 2 timing windows. Animal gets the timing window. Okay. So let's get over to powers. Animal, if you recall, works as the little slap on the wrist when you don't invite him to ally, and then gives cards when you do. Magician, we just went over. But being able to take a card is just better, and forcing your opponent to have to choose 2 cards, knowing they're only going to get to play 1. It's a better power. Let's get into the flavor text here. Magician's flavor text. They lack the natural weapons, defend themselves. Animal's flavor text is just better. That's the one about bogarting the planet, man. So we got a 3-2 series going down to the flares. Magician's wild. 3-card Monty. And Animal's wild. Throw a Cosmic Quake. Ooh. That's good. I like Animal's wild. So let's go to the super. Animal super, when you're not invited to ally by main player, that player loses 2 ships instead of 1. But Magician super, being able to see a face-up card, that's the win. Sorry, Magician takes it home, 4-3. So Magician moving forward there. So that means it's Magician versus Converter for the spot in the round of 32. And, this is going to be interesting. Magician, Converter. Here. We got Magician. We got Converter. They're both interesting pieces of art. I like them both. I think I like Converter just that little bit more. Magician does still make me happy, but I think Converter is a better piece of art. That being said, Magician's a better power. You are getting, you're taking the cards. Converter has the exchange rate, but you have to lose something or gain something back. Magician should probably have you in a position where you're never actually losing anything. Magician, you should probably never need a new hand. Converter, much more flexible on the timing window. So, flavor text. I have to go remember Converter's flavor text. Oh, right. This is the one. Highly prized manufacturers, business partners that can take virtually any piece of technology, change it into something completely different. Some theorize that they eat the original materials, creating some suspicion about how new materials appear. I'm going to give that to Converter. Now, Super Flare, because I do remember this. Magician, really good Super Flare. Converter Super, in any phase, you may discard any number of cards from your hand, and you retrieve ships from the warp, or draw cards from the deck in any combination. I do like the Converter Super, but I like the Magician Super more. And let's look wilds. So it's down to the wild to determine this. And this speaks to two very well-rounded overall powers that I like. Converter Wild. As an ally, if you would lose one or more ships to the warp due to losing an encounter, you may force every player on the winning side to discard one card at random. Bit vengeful, but still fair. Magician Wild. Main player, before selecting cards, you may force your opponent to play 3 encounter cards face down. Mix them up. Your opponent chooses one that they get to play. The other 2 go back to their hand. As much as I like vengeful, I like chaos, I like random, and Magician's going to move on. So, Magician over Converter, a power I really did want to see in the final bit here. But it's Magician, going to move on, and face Maven in the round of 32. When the round of 32 is happening, I don't know. It's going to be a bit. But here we are. So yeah, that was today's bracket. Lots of close games. The only blowout was Converter over Butler. Animal over Changeling was not close. Everything else was close matchups today. This does not get easier. And I don't know if it's, all of these powers were just kind of relatively close, but I don't think so. I think these are all just fairly good. I think this was a grouping of fairly strong powers. I think, yeah. I don't know. I think Maven might have a tough time against Magician. Just like I know Brute's going to have a tough time against Sorcerer, but we're going to play that out. To be fair, I think Maven and Magician are going to have a tough time against the winner up here. But yeah. So that is now one quadrant. The first 4 into the round of 32 taken care of. So that's 1/8 or 1/8 of the way done here. So thank you for joining me on this. I know it's going to be a lot longer to get through, but we will make it. I promise you that. We will get through all of these. So stick with me. I appreciate your focus, your dedication, and hopefully your comments telling me, David, you're an idiot. This is not the way this should have gone. This power should have won, and what are you doing here? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Till next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.